Now, if you're familiar with Prince music, then I'm sure you've heard of Mayte Garcia, right? His very famous ex-wife, his first wife, but she is more than just Prince's wife, okay? Mayte Garcia is a talented actress, singer, and dancer, and has a lot to offer and have paved a way for herself and made a name for herself. And she has persevered through the tragedy that she endured, and she's come out really a beautiful soul who is healing, and her story is just so touching. We're gonna get into all of the juicy details of her story because I know that's why you guys are here. You know, from her meeting Prince really young and the scandals of it all, and becoming her legal guardian, and then her birth control. So many details we're going to talk about. And I do want to give a trigger warning because we are going to talk about the loss of a child, which is going to be pretty detailed. I don't want to trigger anyone. This is your trigger warning. I am going to show a lot of clips, etc. So I'm just letting you guys know now as a courtesy. There will be sensitive topics and sensitive clips shown, okay? But before we get into all of that, hey friend, welcome to my channel, karinealourde, where we deep dive and break down the most iconic stars through history. If you're not yet subscribed, please be sure to do so. And if you're already subscribed, please turn on your notification bell so you never miss an upload. Without further ado, let's jump into this video. As always, I want you guys to be a little familiar with the personalities of the icons that we break down. So I'm gonna give you guys a quick run of her personality. Who is Mayte Garcia before we get into her childhood and then how she met Prince and all of those details, okay? Let's start with her beauty profile first. Mayte always had this allure, this mysterious vampy look, right? But did you guys know that her look, especially when she worked with Prince in her younger years, was the vision of Prince? We're gonna talk about that. He really decided on the hair colors and the fashion, and although people tried to make that seem very controlling of him, she never had an issue with it. She really found it like, hey, it was his vision, I was working for him, and he helped me to have that look that is timeless, that is iconic, that is her signature look. Even with the V-shaped bang, as iconic as it is, Prince, you know, encouraged her to do that, and she always gave him credit in his flowers for that, even though people tried to spin it into a controlling situation.
He went further with your clothing and your hair and all of that thing. I know in a way you can go, well, that was him as an artist and that's what he saw and that was his vision. But actually living that on a day-to-day thing, it must have, sometimes he must have felt quite stifled.
But he was infamous for that. I mean, if you notice, that's why the band was so tight and everybody was, I mean, it was just a respect thing. No, I mean, it wasn't like he was asking me to have orange hair or do anything crazy. It was something to add to what he was doing, his vision, his album at the time. So it didn't feel controlling. I mean, it was fun. I never looked at it and was like, I don't want bangs or I don't want to wear this. It was always like, yes, this is awesome.
As she works out a lot, even now as she gotten older, she still has a very toned physique. As someone who still dances, she still dances and she still works out a lot. And she has spoken about that since the very beginning, that she's on stage a lot dancing.
First of all, I wonder, how do you keep fit? I mean, you have to go on stage every night, dance.
Yeah, well, basically, dancing on stage is what keeps me fit because it's non-stop. I'm dancing non-stop in the concert. Yeah.
And when you're off the road, do you work out every day or something?
Yeah, training for hours. Being a dancer, you have to train every day.
So she take care of her skin a lot, and then she also loves witch hazel, which is an astringent. That's one of her #1 beauty secret. And when it comes to her personality, she always says that she's in a constant state of meditation, and especially when she's dancing or her day-to-day, because she dealt with so much trauma that she doesn't want to like remember all of them and have to think and stuff. So she stays in this constant state of meditation. But her favorite way to relax is to sit down with some tea and knit. She's into knitting. Her favorite city to visit of all is Madrid, which is in Spain. She also loves to cook and she's obsessed with the culinary world. Now let's get into her childhood, okay? So Mayte Garcia is a dynamic and fascinating woman who was born on November 12, 1973 in Fort Rucker, Alabama. Her parents, John and Janelle, both came from Puerto Rico and they have Puerto Rican backgrounds. Her father was a pilot in the U.S. military while her mother was a talented dancer. Her life was full of travel and adventure, spending much of her childhood in both Germany and the United States. Growing up in Germany, Mayte quickly developed a love and passion for ballet and became a prima ballerina with the Wiesbaden Ballet as a teenager. She attended General H.H. Arnold High School in Wiesbaden, where her passion for dancing continued to grow and flourish. Mayte spoke fondly about the time she spent in Germany, immersed in the culture and surrounded by art and history. And despite her love for dance, Mayte's true passion was always belly dancing. She began practicing at the young age of 3 and was soon recognized as a prodigy. Mayte even appeared on the American television program That's Incredible at the tender age of 7, becoming the world's youngest professional belly dancer. Mayte's summers were spent with her extended family in San Juan, Puerto Rico, where she soaked up all the vibrant energy and culture of her heritage. She treasured these visits and spoke of them fondly, saying that it was where she truly felt like she belonged. She loved music and was even part of a choir when she was younger. Her artistic talent extended to drawing, painting, and even writing, displaying a broad range of creativity. Now, in terms of her career, in 1990, 16-year-old Garcia met 32-year-old Prince backstage in Barcelona after he saw a tape of her dancing. The story began in 1990 when her mother took a chance by sending a video of Garcia's captivating dance routine to one of Prince's dancers, hoping it would reach the legendary musician himself. As fate would have it, Prince was spellbound within minutes of watching the young dancer's performance, and within 10 minutes, she was invited backstage. He continued saying, his hair was straightened to a soft wave, his eyelashes was unfairly lovely. He smelled like the most expensive shelf in the Sephora perfume aisle. This man wearing eyeliner, heels, and ladies' perfume somehow managed to be more masculine than the burly bodyguard. Prince then told Garcia, I like your tape, are you really 16? And after confirming that she was, Prince told the teenager, well, I'd like to talk to you more, can I get your number? The two maintained contact for 2 years. Prince called that same night asking Garcia to come to his hotel room with more tapes. He was soon calling her every night and writing to her, saying in one note, you're so pretty, it cheers me up if someone tries to ruin my day. Many do. Thank you for coming into my world, end quote. That same year, she was also invited to visit Paisley Park, where she belly danced with Prince and then slept in a separate bedroom. In the morning, he made pancakes, wrote Garcia. But many people believe something did happen. Comment below what you think. And Prince was also known as saying when he first saw her, first time he laid eyes on her, he said, that's going to be my wife.
I said, that's my future wife. Just as, Did you think this is my future husband?
No. I mean, I was 16 when I met him, so just the idea of meeting him, I was really scared before I met him. And then when I met him, I just felt I was just calm and I didn't feel nervous.
After she graduated high school in Germany at the age of 17, Prince became her legal guardian, and upon turning 18, Garcia was asked to join the NPG.
You were too young to go out on the road with him, and this is the bit that both Holly and I went, what? That your dad made him your legal guardian so that you could go on the road with him?
My father saw the back and forth between Prince and I. I would send him videotapes of my dancing, and he would send me music. And I kept going on these trips to visit him, and he just knew. And when Prince asked him if I could come to Los Angeles, there was a possibility that I could work. So instead of having to deal with all the paperwork, meeting him, my mother and father, they both spoke to him.
The father here, I've got 2 girls. As a father here of 2 girls, if one of my girls at 17 said, I'm going on the road with a rock star, will you sign over my legal guardianship to them? I would have said, are you absolutely out of your mind? No chance.
Comment below, what do you guys think about him becoming her legal guardian? What are your thoughts? But Mayte seemed to have seen it differently. And in 1992, Garcia's career took flight as she was hired to dance during Prince's Diamond and Pearls tour. At first, he was horrible to her. He gave her a meager salary of just $300 a week. Unable to afford meals, she was forced to sneak scraps. There were times I was hungry enough to sneak food from room service carts in a hotel hallway, she recalls. When Prince thought she did eat too much, he punished her for it. She claims when he believed a makeup artist's cookies in the dressing room were actually Garcia's, he shamed her and docked her pay.
Because you weren't dancing as much and you were on tour and you're eating and you said your body changed and that you put on weight. And Prince's reaction to that was harsh.
Docking your wages.
He went further with...
Everybody was, it was just a respect thing.
And upon moving to Minneapolis, Prince and members of his team helped set her up with her own apartment. At first, I stayed at the Sofitel, she said. Then they moved me to a nice little prairie house at the Country Suites. But I couldn't even make a cup of tea there. So they got me an apartment and rented furniture, she said. When she was 19, Prince instructed her to get on birth control, thus beginning their sensual relationship. Prince later told Oprah Winfrey he remembered thinking that was my future wife when he first saw the dancer. Garcia said she couldn't really pinpoint when the relationship became romantic, but she did tell the Irish Times that when she was 19, Prince told her it was time for her to go on birth control. Mayte was a virgin when she met Prince and was actually very sheltered and protected by her parents, according to her. But I don't know with the whole legal guardianship thing, I don't know. So she was pretty inexperienced in the areas of love, according to her. She really makes my soul feel complete, he continued. I feel powerful with her around, and she makes it easier to talk to God, end quote. She became the muse for his next album, Love Symbol, where she assumed the role of an Egyptian princess. From 1992 to 1996, she was a vital member of the NPG and continued to make occasional appearances during Prince tours in 1998 and 1999. And after a 4-year courtship, they married on February 14, 1996. Garcia's talents reached new heights in 1995 when Prince produced an album for her titled Child of the Sun. Released in Europe under his NPG Records label, in 1997 she was appointed artistic director of the New Power Generation dance company and directed the music video for The One for Prince. Her directorial skills also extended to creating music videos for Shaka Khan, which I did a video for, and Graham Central Station. She had some fond memories of her relationship with Prince and really sees him in a very adoring light. His wedding gift to her, 7,500 square foot Spanish villa equipped with a professional hair salon and a music studio. And although she wasn't allowed to use the hair salon because it was for Prince only, she had to always go get her hair done outside of the house because she said he needed his me time and the salon was his me time, okay? In her 2017 memoir, The Most Beautiful, My Life with Prince, Garcia paints a picture of their shopping escapades that were anything but average. Imagine this, instead of mundane tasks like comparing prices or trying on clothes, the couple would swoop down on Melrose in a limo, blitzing through each store before anyone would even register that they were in the presence of music royalty. Their approach was simple: find the coolest threads, grab what you want, hand it over to security at the door. Price tags? Who had time for that? When you're living in the fast lane, you don't check price tags, okay? But their connection ran deeper than extravagant shopping sprees. Prince firmly believed that their souls had met in a past life. During an interview with Oprah in 1996, he stated, "She was either my sister or we were the same person or something in another life." And although Oprah found the idea slightly peculiar, Prince remained unswayed. "There's a closeness there that you know is right and you won't argue with it," he asserted. Garcia echoed these sentiments in her memoir writing, "Together we explored universes and lifetimes and universal truth."
People say they are soulmates and believe they knew each other in a previous life.
I feel like she was either my sister or we were the same person or something in another life. There's a closeness that you know is right and you don't argue with. I do feel that I've come closer to who I aspire to be by being with her.
Really?
Mm-hmm. She makes it easier to talk to God.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I could cry.
The most romantic thing that he's done is write these beautiful songs for me. You know, there's Let's Have a Baby. Because of that, I mean, I got pregnant.
In a conversation with Spike Lee in 1997, Prince took it even further, saying, "My soul has been in love with Mayte for thousands of years." When asked to elaborate, he added, "I am a firm believer in reincarnation for people who either have more work to do or have so much debt to pay back that they have to be here. I hope for me it is the former, and my work was finding Mayte and having a child, which we will continue to work on until there are several here," end quote. And in 1995, Prince penned his hit song, The Most Beautiful Girl in the World, for Garcia. And during that Oprah interview, Garcia made an interesting revelation. She never called her husband by his name, Prince. "When I met him, I didn't call him Prince," she explained. "I never called him that because I didn't see him as that person. And when people asked how she got his attention, she had a simple answer. I just said, hey." The tale of Mayte Garcia's and Prince's only child, Amir, is a heartbreaking one. Of all the memories on her 4-year marriage to Prince, Mayte Garcia says her favorite was telling him she was pregnant with their first child. He was so ecstatic. They named the child Amir, which is Arabic for Prince, and he was born on October 16, 1996. Amir was immediately diagnosed with Pfeiffer syndrome type 2, which is a rare genetic disorder that severely impacts the development of the skull. This condition made it impossible for the newborn to breathe independently, requiring a ventilator for survival. "They brought the baby over to us," remembers Garcia. "He was curled on his side, gasping shallow little gulps of air because there was no lids to blink. His eyes looked startled and dry." Garcia then writes, "I caught hold of his tiny hands, saying over and over, 'Mama loves you, Mama's here.' That was one of the few times she was able to hold and speak to her baby, who never left the hospital and immediately began to undergo operations and procedures to try and prolong his life." Amir was still struggling to breathe, writes Garcia. Nothing seemed to be working to help his condition. They sew his eyes shut, intubation, feeding tubes. Every day something went wrong, writes Garcia. And after 6 days, he was struggling to breathe, and I said to the doctor, he's not leaving here, is he? Despite the best medical care, their little prince could not overcome his health challenges and tragically passed away just 6 days after his birth, and his ashes were brought to their home in an urn. The loss was devastating to the couple, and in their grief, they struggled to accept the harsh reality of their son's death. And a week later, they appeared on the Oprah Winfrey Show, presenting a facade of normalcy to the world, pretending as though their son was still alive. Mayte was still grieving and was not in the mood to do a sit-down with Oprah. She begged Prince to cancel the engagement, but he resisted. He replied, telling her, "I need you to do this for me." Garcia writes in her book, and I quote, "He had me on my feet, but I was sobbing. People came. A mask of heavy makeup was applied to my face. My husband took Oprah on a tour of Paisley Park, and her mission was clear. She'd come to find out if the child was dead or deformed, like people were saying." There were so many rumors that Prince couldn't have kids because he wasn't human, and their baby didn't survive because of that fact, and this is why their baby looked indescribable. It must have been so hard for Mayte, I can't even begin to imagine.
It's been rumored that the couple's baby boy was born with health problems, and the reports have fans concerned. What is the status of your baby?
Our family exists. We're just beginning it. We got many kids to have. Long way to go.
And that's all the artist and his wife choose to say at this time.
Garcia also explains the disorder that claimed her son's life, which she only began to learn about after his death, saying Pfeiffer syndrome 2 is a genetic disorder that causes skeletal and systematic abnormalities, writes Garcia. The premature fusing of the bones in the skull, sometimes resulting in cloverleaf skull in which the eyes are outside the sockets. The fusion of bones in the hands and feet, causing a webbed or paw-like appearance. The absence of an anus, indicating life-threatening abnormalities in colon and bowels. Garcia goes on to write, "I learned all this later, but in the first moment I couldn't understand what I was seeing." End quote. That is why Prince had a look of terror when he saw the boy, whose arrival he had been eagerly planning on. People who misunderstood the disorder had ignorant comments and suspicions because, like Mayte, they couldn't understand fully what they were looking at. You know, if you don't understand, you just be like, okay, why does this child look like this, right? It's a very bizarre illness to have. But back to Oprah and that horrifying interview Mayte had to endure. Part of the tour that Oprah did at Paisley Park did a stop at a nursery and playroom Prince had installed at his Paisley Park while Garcia was still in the hospital. She said, "I didn't know anything about that," she writes. "He wanted to surprise me. Oprah saw it before I did. I have to wonder why he took her in there. They stood in the middle of this colorful paradise of toys. It had everything a perfect nursery needs, except for the only thing a perfect nursery needs, which is a child." Garcia says Oprah asked about the baby's rumored health problems, to which Prince responded, "It was all good."
But while touring Paisley Park, he showed me their newly decorated playroom.
And here's my favorite room.
The children's to be, the children's to come.
Yes, ma'am.
And all those rumors about their baby? Well, the artist shared this with us.
It's all good. Never mind what you hear.
Garcia later explained this heartbreaking decision, saying that they were paralyzed by denial and grief. They held on to the belief that their son's soul would return, that he was not really gone. The death of their child sent Garcia spiraling into a deep depression, leading her to contemplate taking her own life. In her darkest moment, she found solace in the affection of her dog, whose unconditional love served as a lifeline, pulling her back from the edge. And unfortunately, the couple's struggle did not end there. Garcia suffered a miscarriage sometime after Amir's death, further exasperating the strain on their relationship. The compounded grief and loss eventually proved too much for their marriage to bear. Mayte explains, and I quote, "To lose 2 babies is really scary. It really caught on me emotionally, physical, everything. It took me at least 15 years to get over it, and still to this day, I miss my son. I believe a child dying between a couple either makes you stronger or it doesn't. For me, it was very hard to move forward, and for us as a couple, I think it probably broke us." Now, he abandoned her in the house and just went on to marry his next wife, which is so odd because Mayte is cool with her now, and like, girl, I don't know, I could never, because the ex-wife kind of, legend to rumors and Mayte, they were messing around while, you know, Mayte was going through all of this too, and she became friends with her. I don't know.
I think he thought because we lost our 2 children, 2 babies, that I wasn't the one.
In 2000, after years of marriage and a series of heartbreaking events, Garcia and Prince decided to part ways, making the end of their union. When she was asked if she believed their relationship would have survived if they hadn't lost their son, Garcia grows quiet and softly replies yes. Fighting back tears, she continues, "I meet a lot of people and I've learned that not many couples make it after the loss of a child. And then when you have another one, that was really hard on us," end quote.
What would you like to say about your relationship? Will it be forever?
Yeah, it will be forever.
After the separation, Garcia claims she learned from the friend that Prince had burned everything in his home that reminded him of her or their late child, including Amir's ashes. "My whole body felt taken over with rage," she writes. "It felt hot and toxic and lasted for a long, long time." A few years later, Garcia learned to forgive her ex, and the former couple was on good terms before his 2016, death. "I know as surely as I know my name that I will see my love again," she insists. And her later career, she choreographed Britney Spears' iconic belly dancing routine for the "I'm a Slave for You" music video and the 2001 MTV Video Music Awards performance. And during this period, she dated drummer Tommy Lee and contributed vocals to his album Never a Dull Moment. And beyond music, Garcia has made her mark in films such as the Hindi film Dust and Firehouse Dog. She was offered a significant role in the film Just Like a Woman, but had to decline due to scheduling conflicts. And on television, Garcia has appeared on popular shows like Two Broke Girls, Psych, The Closer, Las Vegas, Nip Tuck, and Keeping Up with the Kardashians. She took on a recurring role on Lifetime's Army Wives as Jennifer Connor and was a judge on the first season of Oxygen's Dance Your Ass Off. In 2017, Garcia penned a heartfelt book titled The Most Beautiful: My Life with Prince, chronicling her personal and professional relationship with the music icon. She found it difficult to date after Prince, saying, "I think I'm now screwed for life because my first relationship was the most bizarre relationship ever, and I'm not normal anymore. I've kind of been spoiled, and I guess I'm kind of screwed up," end quote. Garcia lives in Las Vegas, Nevada with her daughter Gia, whom she had adopted in 2013, and Garcia has multiple sclerosis, which is an autoimmune disease that affects the central nervous system. The symptoms began in 2010. Her treatment program, along with a healthy diet and exercise regimen, has stopped the MS symptoms from progressing, allowing her to live in an active lifestyle and continue working. This is all I have for this video. How tragic, but I feel like she is healing in her healing process. I hope she heals from this, because even in recent interviews, she just always looks sadder, especially every time she talks about this. So I pray for her healing. This is all I have to say for this story. Comment below your thoughts. What do you guys think about all of this? If you like the music you're listening to, the link is in the description. And also comment below who else would you guys like to see. Until next time.